Hey, hi Diwank. Welcome
Hey,
to the first Composio AI agent blog. So, I mean, you're the first one here. We are planning a series around like various AI agentic platform, AI agent companies to like because the whole field is so new for people to understand what it takes to build good quality agents and what are the issues that we all like who are building stuff around it are kind of facing day in day out.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
thanks a lot for being the first one. So yeah, I just want to give a brief intro. By the way, Diwank is like the founder of Julep AI, which is like an agentic platform that I think I've used it and is like really good and fast to productionize agents amongst many other platforms that are coming up. So, Devang, I
Yeah,
would
thank you.
like to start with essentially the starting. Like, what was the genesis of the idea? How did you guys start? For the folks who don't
Yeah,
know, I think like Ishita, who is Devang's wife as well, is the co-founder.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah, yeah. I'm really lucky to have my partner in life as my business partner, and it is really a, a blessing and a gift to be able to work on the same thing and be excited and passionate about the same thing.
yeah.
So that's really awesome. And to give you a sense, we started the company itself back right about when ChatGPT was launched. So
Got it.
November of 2022. And at the time, in fact, I had started to realize that I want to start an AI company even before ChatGPT had come out. And then ChatGPT came out and it just kind of took the world by storm, right?
Yeah.
Um, At the time, I had no idea what we were going to build, and so we came up with the name Julep because we didn't know. Julep, for those who don't know, is a cocktail. It's the name of a cocktail. So
Oh,
it's a mint and bourbon cocktail. And we started just with the premise that AI is going to change the way we work and we play. And we wanted to build, like, discover what products can be built using it. Um, and over time, the journey has been trying out different products, building different products. But the constant theme has been how can we make computing more intelligent, more human to interact with. I'm happy to talk in more detail about any of the specific journeys, but we switched to building Julep as a platform for building agents in November last year, so November 2023.
got it. And before that, can you come again? Like, what was the kind of thesis? It was around like making a new like kind of UX for computing in that sense, or some.
Yeah, yeah. So we we were essentially trying to find ways that we can use this new technology, which is foundation models, in
Right.
understanding people better and in automating tasks that people have to do that are cumbersome. So one of
Got
the
it.
first products that we built was actually an AI school receptionist. So
Makes
at
sense.
the time, because models were still not completely reliable, we had to pick something very small that we can reliably get the model to do. This is back in GPT-3 days,
Right.
Da Vinci days, and GPT 3.5 had not come out. And yeah, and I think the first product we built was a school receptionist. The idea being, if you call a school receptionist right now, school receptionists or receptionists of any sort are one of the most inundated
Mm.
jobs because it's one person getting lots of calls at the same time. And we wanted to essentially take the knowledge base of the school and then make it available through like a voice assistant. So that was the first product.
Makes
Um,
sense.
but as as while we were building it, it was extraordinary because so many things were coming out and they were the foundation models were improving nearly like every day. It's starting with, I think, in March, GPT 3.5 Turbo was launched, and then
Right.
shortly after GPT 4 was launched, and it was incredible. So at that was kind of like a big inflection point for me, thinking that okay, wait, I think our ambition here is can be so much bigger and wider than what we were thinking. And so we pivoted first to a general purpose like sales assistant rather than just like a school receptionist. And we built sales assistants for Shopify. So if you have a Shopify store, you can install a Shopify app, and that would index all of your products, make a chatbot that can just you can just talk to, and like do commerce with. So you can actually buy things in the chat. So imagine a WhatsApp chat with Nike, and where you can talk about the latest products and chat and buy within the same chat.
Got it. Got it.
And so that was the second kind of product. And then we kind of GPT-4 was launched, Llama models were launched, and for the first time we had the power to build our own really powerful models. And a sort of long time inspiration that I have is from this movie Her, and Samantha. And I think lately, because of Sam Altman's thing with Scarlett Johansson and also GPT-4o, it's become sort of this thing. But I mean, as long as the movie has been out, which is at this point, I think 10.5 years, I have been just fascinated with that movie.
Right.
And I remember coming out of the theater, like I think like I saw the movie first night or second night or something like that in the Bay Area, and I remember coming out and thinking, I want to build Samantha one day. And so then the sort of third iteration was, okay, how can we make something like Samantha, or attempt to make something that is both feels a lot more human and feels personal, can learn about me and so on. And so if you think about like GPT-4o has kind of started towards that trajectory where the model can be expected to feel and talk like sort of almost like naturally and fluidly like a person. But at the time, GPT-4, GPT 3.5, they were, and they still are, I mean, the previous versions are seem robotic. So we actually trained, fine-tuned our like a llama model to be human and talk like a person from scratch. And that was one of our products for the longest time, and we were selling that along with a custom memory implementation. And then
Got it.
in November last year, we sort of realized that the most effective way of building memory is actually to kind of own the stack, and have a backend that has access to the database natively and can do
Right.
things with. And that brought us to today,
Now
which
you're
is
empowering others to build what you were kind of building in some sense. Like you were planning to
yeah,
build
yeah,
AI
yeah, yeah,
agents. Now you're empowering others to build AI agents.
absolutely, absolutely.
I think next question in that sense is about like I think we all get surprised by like AI like every other day, right? Like you mentioned, like your dream was to make her. Now it's like alive in that sense with GPT-4o and
A little
multiple other
bit,
things. It's
yes,
like yeah,
yeah.
so kind of like wanted to understand like while building agents for like your previous ideas or today, like when your users use Julep or you use Julep, what are some of the
Yeah.
surprising things that you kind of get to know even today, which feels like surreal to you in some sense?
Um, I think the there are two sides of the same coin, but it is surprising that these models can figure out some tasks and some requests so dramatically and so beautifully, and at the same time fail at some simple um, tasks. So, I'll give you an example. So one, I think we've begun to take it for granted. Like human beings are just incredibly good at learning to take for granted, and we've begun to take for granted what um how remarkable these function models are. Like GPT-4, the current model, GPT-4, latest GPT-4, is smarter than the first GPT-4 when it came out. And the first GPT-4 was incredible. I think it's arguably like among like technical Hall of Fame, one of the most like top 10 inventions, the computer science has come up with. And and now we take GPT-4 for granted, right? Like so many things that it does. But if you think about just from a problem solving standpoint, if I talk to GPT-4 and I say, hey, this is a spreadsheet. I want you to write the formula for calculating the mean and so on and so on. And it writes it. And then you say, okay, can you combine all of the formulas for me to figure out, and what is the most surprising um, aspect of this spreadsheet? It can do that. And that's incredible because if you think about it, trained human beings are usually and often stuck at those kind of things, right? So, like a person with an MBA degree might not be able to do that. GPT-4 can do that in seconds,
Right.
and no matter how like complicated of a problem you throw at it. On the other hand, this was really hilarious. This one time when we were building the Shopify assistant, we were using GPT 3.5 Turbo, and there was so in Shopify we added lots of tools, right? Like you can get a product, you can get its uh, location, you can get its like delivery hours and whatever. And there was an API call for getting like, if you give a zip code, you can get the delivery fee. And we asked, there was a simple question: how much will it cost for me to ship this package to my place in Delhi? And instead of calling that API, GB 3.5 decided that it's going to try to, and there was a loop, like you can call a tool and then you can come back. And GB 3.5 decided that I'm going to add all of the products to cart and then find the difference between each of them. So there was this running joke in the company that, hey, like AGI is going to come and all it's going to do is just add everything to cart. Um, and yeah, and just like try to buy shit is like the most evil plan that could come up with. But so yeah, so the fact that both of those exist almost like often in the same model
Right.
is surprising. It's yeah, I think that would be the most surreal that this is a new kind of intelligence. This is a new kind of reasoning that we're not used to.
Yeah.
You cannot label it as intelligence because it can do certain things that the same level of intelligent person can do, and it can't do some things that the same level of intelligent person could do.
Makes
So it's
sense.
a different kind of intelligence, not really.
Yeah. No, I think I was just listening to a podcast day before or somewhere around the agentic world, and kind of the biggest issue, like as you mentioned, is around. I think it was by Scale's founder. So kind of it was around like humans have this tendency, like reliability comes from being like long sighted, because we have to survive for like long years,
Yeah,
compared to like AI right now. It's not reliable just because it has to kind of its kind of stochastic goal in that sense is to fulfill the next token in that sense. So
Yeah,
Kinda that
that's
analogy.
That's one way of seeing it. Yeah, yeah,
Makes sense. I think need like some form of planning. I think it's been a while. I think that statement, that phrase has been overused probably, but need to solve planning.
we need to
Yeah.
solve planning. He said.
Planning and reliability for agents to
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
become
yeah.
more reliable.
I mean, I think so. The thing with reliability is also, I think that in a lot of use cases, we are using the LLMs incorrectly.
Yeah.
Like we are, yeah. I mean, I can talk for hours about this, but I think the more interesting solutions will come from a mix of deterministic steps. And so this is something that we're building as part of a new feature. A mix of like deterministic steps and LLMs to essentially convert human inputs from like the chaotic real world into those deterministic state machines.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Um, so I think that that is where reliability will be solved. It's I think people are misapplying foundation models often, but yeah.
Makes sense. I think that brings me to the next question. Like, I think a perfect segue. Like, so I think there are a bunch of agentic platforms that are coming up, right? Frameworks like LangChain
Yeah,
has like LangGraph, AutoGen, etc. So,
yeah.
kind of like wanted to understand what, according to you, is the USP of Julep, which kind of
Yeah.
makes it outshine compared to the other frameworks.
Yeah. So this is a hot take, but I firmly stand by it. I think multi-agent collaborative systems are overhyped, and they're a very powerful way of using foundation models, but at the same time, um, they're not the right tool for most things.
Makes sense.
So with Julep, pretty soon you will be able to do multi-agent collaboration and all kinds of things. But for us, the important metric is okay. Can you like we talked about earlier, right? Reliability. Can you reliably and predictably solve a problem? And multi-agent. So if you look back on why multi-agent came across in AutoGen, Crew, and a lot of other frameworks focus on multi-agent collaboration. They come from this recognition that okay, if you can, we know that models can slice up a problem, and we know that models can solve small problems. So if you define these hypothetical roles, which kind of break down the problem and share it up automatically, share it amongst themselves automatically, then each part can focus on just that bit of context and focus on its role, which is its implicit division of that problem, and then solve it. And the hope is that it will do a much better job, and it does. But that is not the only way to divide up the problem. Another way of dividing up the problem is creating a recipe. So instead of saying, okay, uh, here is the kitchen, here, whatever, everything. Go make, I don't know, spaghetti or some like spaghetti meatballs or whatever. Instead of that, you can say, okay, if you want to make spaghetti and meatballs, here is the recipe. These are the ingredients. So your first step becomes go collect the ingredients from one place. Second step becomes prepare the ingredients, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Um, and that is a perfectly like good, and in fact I would argue that that's a really good way of breaking down the problem, because you are sort of um, like deterministically specifying first do this, then do this, then do this, each step progressively from the first one, and like is made easier and easier and easier. And I'm not saying that all problems can be simplified in this way, but right now, like imagine if I said, okay, I want you to make spaghetti and meatballs, and you said, oh, hey, like I'm gonna tell you to be head chef, I'm gonna tell you to be sous chef, I'm gonna tell you to be the cleaner, go make this happen. That's one way of doing
Right.
it. And the other is recipe, right? Like a single person can make recipe even if they've never cooked in their life.
Makes sense.
Um, on the other hand, so in this case, the kind of step-by-step workflow is a superior alternative. On the other hand, you have something open-ended, like I want you to come up with the top three reasons that climate change is happening and find a solution to each one of them. There's no recipe there, right? And at that one, a much better framework is, all right, I'm going to make you the researcher, I'm going to make you the activist, I'm going to make you the engineer, and you guys come up with a solution. And so in that one, there's no recipe. You can't just do workflow. But I'm actually personally surprised there's not as many workflow like systems out there. But yes, so Julep is building a workflow based system, and there will be tasks, and our focus is on creating perpetual agents, meaning agents that can do long running tasks. I can say things like, ask me every day how I'm feeling, and then at the end of the week, give me like a summary and what I could do better,
Makes
and
sense.
being able to build a workflow like that, um, and that can run forever. And that's the idea. So, and we are also building multi-agent collaboration, but I think that that's a people are treating it as a hammer.
Makes
Um,
sense.
that rather that a simpler abstraction can solve the problems of reliability better. In fact, there's another example that comes to mind. Um, Sid, who's on our team, was building like using Composio actually, was building a small toy app where he would talk to a bot in Slack, and that bot has some rules about Spotify, and it would play the songs that Sid is requesting. And he tried building it using True AI, and it would take like 30, 40 seconds, where every in the multi-agent collaboration, every agent's coming up with their own reasoning, chain of thought, this, then figuring out which tool to call, then doing another round of like discussion, then calling that tool. And I mean, that takes time. It takes like 30, 40 seconds or whatever. I think there's, and if you do it in Julep, it's like nearly, okay, first thing, figure out if the user's device is known. Second step, search for the song that the user wants to do. If either of these is missing, ask the user for more information, then come back, then play the song. That's
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think basically what you're trying to say is like in most of this workflow scenarios, like the plan is kind of deterministic. Uh,
yeah, and that,
so
that
that's
actually
what.
increases reliability. Like you can see
Yeah.
which step it is failing on. Like the agent does not have the freedom to do anything, like add anything to the cart,
Right.
whatever else it decides.
Yeah. No, makes
And
sense.
you can yeah, and you can rest easy that it will always follow the steps.
Right. Right. The kind of degree of freedom, like in that sense, like the degree of failures, is much
Yeah, degree of
limited.
failures is lower. Degree of freedom is restricted to only that task.
Yeah. Makes total sense. I think the next question is like, in your experience with building agents, what key
Yeah,
elements like one must look after? I mean, what are the key ingredients in that sense? Like, how important in some sense, like in level of priority according to you, is prompt, the quality of tools, the underlying model, anything that I'm missing?
I think yeah. So I think the first one is reasoning is a core. Uh, I mean, reasoning is like a core part of any agentic task. The more complex the task, the more reasoning it requires, and it is the first and foremost, like you need a good model. And uh, smaller models can do simple tasks, and if you fine tune models on certain reasoning traces, they can do achieve those tasks really well. But on the whole, small models, smaller, weaker models are not able to generalize and do solve reasoning open-ended. So if I know exactly that this is what the model needs to do, it needs to play Spotify, I can probably fine tune a 3 billion parameter model, like 3 billion parameter model on that, as long as I can generate enough traces and enough examples for it. And it will work really well. But if I'm saying I don't know what task I'm going to do, what recipe will be available, or for research kind of tasks that I mentioned earlier, research on climate change, this. For those things, you need generalizable reasoning skills and planning skills, and only really good frontier models have them.
Makes
So GPT-4, Turbo, O, Anthropic's Claude, Opus, those kind of models, Gemini 1.5. So yeah, first of all, depends, right? Like, but mostly starting from scratch, you want to definitely start with um, a frontier model, and that has a lot of reasoning, like prowess. The second thing would be, I want to say, splitting up the task as much as possible. So coming up with workflows, sort of like recipes, as much as possible is even for spawning other uh, agentic things, even for multi-agent collaboration. Um, Again, like a predefined recipe that as much as you can, um, and maybe it takes you a lot of like cycles to come up with that recipe, to discover that recipe, but having a
right.
predefined recipe is very important. Like if you just throw, you are a CEO, you are this, and just go do this, um, that's a horrible idea. I mean, it is suitable for some things, but you know, like not suitable for everything. Like you want to do the work and help the model climb as much as possible. Number three would be tools. Tool description and managing the context window is very, very important. And
Yep.
it takes a right now, even the best models are still not perfect at this. Like you can't just throw, like for a reasonably good engineering manager, for example, you can just throw all requests in one file, even with shitty whatever, and they will figure it out. But even the best models right now are very sensitive to how well you structure and define these things in the tools. So, and I think, and this has been happening and this will continue to happen. As models get better and better, these kind of sensitivities and intrinsic hallucinations and stuff will keep going down, tending to zero. There are already so many common forms of hallucinations that were present in DaVinci GPT-3 early models are not present in any of the GPT 3.5, 4, or even Llama 2, 3 models. And we kind of have forgotten about those kind of intrinsic hallucinations, but they're going to keep going down. But the paradigms and the way we use models are going to get more complex. So multi-agent wasn't a thing a year ago. Now it
Yep.
is. Maybe in the future will be like Anthropic came up with spawning new prompts and new agents on the fly. Maybe we'll do that. A lot more of that. But as paradigms get better and better, we will be able to do more impressive things with it. And there will always be some hallucinations, so a lot of trial and error. And yeah, so I mean, I think those three are the big ones. Um, choose a good frontier model. Always start with a good frontier model. Um, Smaller models typically don't generalize well, and um, yeah, like make a workflow style recipe as much as possible. Put in that work, and three, manage the tools, manage the context, write descriptions, experiment a lot. Um,
Makes total sense. Yeah, I think that's what we believe at Composio as well. That's why kind of building like I think good quality tools which kind of hopefully
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
help AI agents become better in that sense.
Exactly, exactly. Oh yeah, number four. I think the most important one is use Julep and Composio.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that will help out on the second and third axis, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
the recipe
yeah.
and the tools. Both are sorted.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, I would love for us to use the knowledge and the experience that we have building and helping others build these agents to build our own like frontier model. Like Rabbit R1 kept falsely claiming they have this large action model and Adept couldn't do it. But I think we will have finally the experience necessary to go make that happen.
Yep.
Large agent tech model.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think coming to the next one, I think kind of like internal agent that you were like, this is like, oh, this can be done by AI. I couldn't even think kind of movement. Like for
I mean,
example,
I mean,
Devin
there's
was
a
one.
bunch of it. Yeah, I don't know if this one counts, but we have a Discord bot called Jessica, and if you join our Discord community channel, on the welcome page, it actually roasts everyone that comes in. So
Right, right,
you can
right.
say, "Hey, I am this that," and just come like, "Oh, oh, wait, another Bangalore person is here. Oh my God, I'm gonna
Yeah, I've
die."
used it, so yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a good
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
I think that's yeah.
Got it. No, I think totally makes sense. I think coming to almost the end of this kind of conversation, would love to ask you like, what are the channels like that if somebody wants to reach out to you, like asking about
Yeah,
like generally AI agent, about Julep, what are the best channels to reach out to you? And I
I
think
would
one more
say
addition to that question, just quick
yeah,
one, like any future kind of features that like probably you would want to tell like that are kind of pre-release in that sense in Julep that people
yeah,
can be
yeah,
excited about.
yeah. Absolutely. I'll start with that one. So we're really excited to launch tasks in general availability. This would be happening by 10th to 15th June. So it's coming very, very soon. We're finishing it, testing it right now. And another one, I think, in the future that we're planning with is expanding memory to like things like implicit memory, so the agents can form beliefs about people, beliefs about their interactions, and that will allow to like in the long term be more and more personalized. So imagine if you can build an agent which is like, okay, I know Karan has a daughter. I know, Karan lives, here, and Karan likes this kind of food, and blah blah blah. And based on that, this is how I'm going to talk. These are the things that I'm going to recommend. So
Right.
that's coming in the near future. So memory and tasks in general availability are the big features. And we already have a integration with Composio. Um, I am excited to further like deepen that integration, like tighten that integration. So, yep. In terms of getting in touch with me, I can be fairly annoying in not responding to things. So in general, like bug me, like feel free. Like it's not like I'm not responding because of something. It's just like I'm shit at checking notifications. So like keep bugging me. I will eventually respond. And you can email me at diwank@julep.ai, Diwank at julep.ai, or message me on Twitter. Again, no guarantees I will reply there. The best way to get in touch with me is through our Discord community. So you can find the link on our website. And if you join the Discord community, you can grab me at the rank. And there I have no excuse. So I will
I
immediately
think
respond.
all the three links will be kind of in the description of the video, so folks can check it out.
Okay. I appreciate it. Right.
Just one last kind of generic question. which is
Yeah,
like kind of visionary question in some sense. How do you envision AI agents transforming human roles probably like 5 years down the line?
5 years. 5 years is like
Too
um,
much in this world.
years in AI landscape. Um, I'll take a stab at that. I think that there will be a lot of uh, roles that will be reasonably automated, and there is some cause of alarm, especially in low cognitive effort tasks. And I don't mean to disparage, just trying to bring to light that those tasks are actually at under threat. Like for example, there's a whole um, group of people that may make or used to make wallpapers, HD wallpapers or whatnot in Photoshop. Um, and some of them will still have a place. The best of them will still have a place, but for just general illustrations and so on, you can go on Dali or Midjourney and create one for yourself right now.
I
All you
did it
need
yesterday
is an
only for my
imagination.
so,
Yeah, yeah. All you need is an imagination, right?
yeah.
Um, and I think that there will be other such roles, and this is short term. I mean, it's not even long term. Um, but as these models get better and better, you can think of other low cognitive effort tasks like small script kiddie type things. Like there are people, there are roles that write code for Google App Sheet. Um, those kind of roles will start to
Nothing.
dissipate. Um, so it's not as much that the work that is done by those roles is going to be going to disappear. It's that those roles as individual human endeavors is going to go down. And I think this will go all the way to the like top 5% of cognitive tasks in cognitive. So like the 95th percentile will be automated, which means
Yeah.
that in the next 5 years, people really have to shuffle and learn to use AI tools. And it's a thing. Um, but at the same time, there'll be a lot of new um, roles that are going to emerge because if these boring things, um, not often always boring, but if lower cognitive tasks are automated, um, people with higher cognitive tasks will have a more bandwidth of distribution. So one of the reasons, for example, like imagine a movie production. The high cognitive task is, let's say, coming up with a screenplay, coming up with different shots, and then it gets paused by, okay, now that we have a screenplay, imagine making an animation movie. I have a screenplay, I have a rough sketch of the characters. Now, someone will actually go and create clay models just to get a sense of what it'll look like. And that process is just like squash now. So
Yeah.
you can create more screenplays, which, if it changes the economy, maybe it will create more demand for marketing, more demand for. So I think new roles are going to emerge from that, and progressively towards. But I really strongly believe that up to 95th percentile cognitive roles will be automated, which is a lot,
Yeah.
which is a
It is.
lot. And this is 5 years. So, I mean, that's for something like this to take, to happen before this used to take 50 years. And before that, like even I would say like 100 years, then 500 years. But this is like really like telescoping
Yeah.
effect.
It's
Yeah, I
accelerated
don't know.
like
I think,
anything.
I, there's cause for concern. But
Makes sense.
but also we will be able to do a lot of really cool things really, really quickly. Um, so if we make 500 movies a year right now, we'd be making 50,000. Well, not in 5 years, but maybe 5,000. I would not be surprised if we're making 5,000 movies a year um,
Yeah.
in 5 years. Yeah.
Cool. No, it was a great conversation, Devang. Thanks again for
Yeah.
taking the time out. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks, man.